There's something I'd like to talk about. One of the hard things for me to do is, it's really just a recognition of my own kind of failings. When people stop showing up for the meditation class and I don't see them for a month or 2 months, and almost I have to do it. I take their name off of my list. This is not an easy thing to do, the mailing list, because it shows me somewhere in myself I haven't connected with those people to really inspire them to do the work in such depth that they want to participate in this and they want to devote time and energy to building their inner lives for this spiritual practice. Very difficult thing to do. I usually wait a month, 2 months when people don't show up. And another element to it, I don't want this to be taken for granted. I don't want people to assume that they can just disappear for 2 months and come back and disappear for 2 months and come back. In order for this to work, there has to be continuum. There has to be a steady commitment, to being in classes, to doing the work. And I don't mean, yeah, things happen and life happens and people have to do other things at times, which is all right. That's not a problem. But assuming, anything, not only about this meditation, but about anybody or anything that you have to interact with, not a good idea. Because then you start taking things for granted. You start assuming, that it'll always be there and I could always come back or I could always Stuart's a good guy, he'll welcome me, and all this kind of stuff, which interferes with the growth process. Because I learned over years of doing this that there has to be a continuum. There has to be a certain commitment, be it a class a week, 2 classes a week, 3 classes, all the classes every week, whatever it is. That commitment really demands that you have to give up something else in order to be here. Even if it's giving up your own laziness, you have to give up something else to be here, to do the inner work, and to grow. And I understand that probably one of the most difficult things to do in this life is to grow spiritually. We're up against ourselves, we're up against the world, we're up against all the righteousness in the world, the madness in the world, people's opinions, our own opinions. It's a very difficult thing to do. But, one has to fasten their seatbelt and say, okay, I have made a choice. And I will do this. I will overcome my resistance. And once you start overcoming your resistance, the door opens to God, to a spiritual life. And that's what this is all about. Maybe 2 things: learning to be fully human and learning to have a spiritual life. And never assuming anything, because you never know what's going to happen in 10 minutes. And I mean it, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. I mean, this thing in Israel is unbelievable, and I have a number of students there. They come to classes during the day, and some of them are very good students, very devoted to, and they, everybody's life was at stake. And every time I have a class with them, I just say, be safe, just be safe. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? And look, I'll just finish that. I'm not looking for disciples. I'm not looking to lord it over anybody. I don't operate that way. You understand? I just understand profoundly the kind of continuum required in order to grow spiritually, the commitment the person has to make to doing something that is maybe the single most difficult thing to do, where we live on the planet Earth. It requires commitment, it requires need, it requires, guts. It requires guts. Because there's always going to be somebody's opinion, somebody's resistance, somebody who doesn't like it. Including ourselves. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob.
Can you talk about the necessity of slowing down?
Well, I don't.
How does slowing down serve our inner work?
Well, I wouldn't say slowing down, Bob. I would say making more conscious choices about what you want to do with your time and your energy. I've always said for the years, people are busy being busy. And most of it is just simply nervous energy, tension that makes people busy all the time. And they never have time to really take care of themselves. So it's not a matter of slowing down. I mean, look, yeah, my life has slowed down a bit. I mean, I'm not 40 years old anymore where I was running. God, I don't want to get into what I was doing. But there's still a lot going on, including 7 of these classes a week, class on Saturday, 1 in-person class a week. I'm, want to move and get another apartment. I'm trying to generate business through my art. But I mean, but the choices are more conscious. Understand? It's not just being busy for the sake of being busy. I think that's very dangerous. And I think that just as an expense of a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety in people have to be busy in order to fulfill some kind of madness in their own brain. But making a conscious choice, I don't know if that's slowing down. I don't know if my life has gotten any slower today. Yeah, maybe it has. Going to India 4 times a year, going to all over the world, living on airplanes, it's slowed down a bit. But the choices are conscious. And the choices enable me at this point of my life to have a spiritual life, without being busy for the sake of being busy. And I think most of our society functions that way. People have to work 15 hours a day and they got to, money eats people alive. So I think it's not a matter of slowing down, but it's a matter of making more conscious choices about how you want to invest your energy and your time and what will serve you best in these choices you make and help you to have a spiritual life. Teaching all these classes every week is, I mean, I can't, at the end of every class, I just thank everybody because I'm not here to teach, I'm here to learn. And I am learning so much, and I must admit, it makes me tired. I mean, Jennifer tells me Thursday is my Friday, it's the last day of my week. It makes me tired, yes, but so what? It's a conscious choice that is doing nothing but helping me to grow closer to God, to do my service in the world, to be able to give unconditionally to people, to function, at this point of my life, I can't be going to India 4 times a year and then getting off a plane and flying to Brazil and then flying to Europe and flying to here and there. Can't do that anymore. It almost killed me in 2019. But I can do what I'm doing. And my God, it works. And it was given to me by God in an amazing way to be able to share what I've learned in my life with all of you and to have you here teaching me what I need to learn about myself to grow spiritually. So it's not a matter of slowing down, it's a matter of conscious choice. It's a matter of not being busy for the sake of being busy. It creates a lot of tension for yourself and probably for everybody that you interact with. Being busy for the sake of being busy. Conscious choice, every choice, is a step closer to serving a higher force of energy in this world. And yes, there's financial requirements and this and that. And, it's like in the Bible, give to Caesar what Caesar's, which is what? What is Caesar? The rent, the mortgage payment, this, that, the food, the grocery store. That's Caesar. Give it with gratitude. Give to God what is God. That's your inner work, the rising of Kundalini to the crown chakra, the opening of the crown to be connected to God. Give the gratitude not only to Caesar, but give it to God for providing the kind of energy necessary to be able to live here and do these things. Sometimes I laugh, because when I first started teaching this meditation, I think it was Jennifer, or no, that other guy who used to study here, Tony, I said, put on my way, when you send out that notice every month, ask people, contribution of $5, and, to something that could help me pay the rent every month. And then I began to think about it. I said, Stuart, these classes are freaking priceless. How could you put a price on them? And any contribution or donation people make, it has to come from their heart. It has to come from a place inside them that says, thank you. Whether it's $1, $5, $1 million, I wish. But, whatever it is, it has to come from the heart. There is no price for this. There's no cost for this. You understand? It's really something that somebody's, wow, this is giving me my life. I will have to support it in some way, best to my ability. Now, everybody has different financial levels and different, economic situations, but something that should come from the heart to say, thank you. I'll help Stuart pay his rent this month. And, I once had somebody send me $100 and say, this is for 20 classes. And it really got me upset. How could somebody think this class is worth $5? You go to the movies and it's freaking $18, it really got me upset. I was going to send the money back to them. It's what the heart says. Thank you. Thank you. And if you think you're entitled to this, God bless you. You're really running in the wrong path. One has to give something in order to receive. And if people, have to find that in their heart, because there is no cost for this, there's no price. These classes are like priceless classes. So what I'm saying is, don't take this for granted. Don't assume, just open your heart and say thank you. And, if it's $1, I remember Rudy, gave back this bouquet of flowers to a woman. She probably paid $100 for it back in 1972. It was like this, gave it back to her and he said, "Don't try to buy me." That's what he said to her. You know, I don't want your gift. Somebody walked in 10 minutes later with a bag of M&Ms and he hugged them, he thanked them, he couldn't be more grateful. You know, and he was giving an M&M out to everybody that was there as prasad, you know. I'll never forget that. It's one of those extraordinary things I'd ever seen. Came out of that person's heart. It was priceless. An M&M. So all of this fits together, you know, conscious choice, gratitude, the giving and the receiving. So all of it works together to build our humanity, to get us closer to spiritual enlightenment. Does anyone have a question they would like? Anyone else have a question? Okay, there'll be a class Sunday. God bless you all. Thank you. I told you all the time, I'm here to learn, and every one of you makes it possible for me to learn in every one of these classes. So God bless you all and thank you. You know, and with all my heart and gratitude, I'm doing my best here. So bless you all and thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Welcome. Night.
Bye.